Thank you for taking an interest in mediation. Over the next 20 minutes or so, you'll be watching Mediation in Action. It's natural to be nervous going into mediation.
Melanie, hello. I believe you wanted to see me.
Yeah, thanks very much for seeing me.
You're welcome.
Short notice like this. Yeah, I really need to talk to you because this work situation has become a problem. I can't really cope with it anymore on my own, and I really do need help with it.
Okay, have you considered what possible options you have?
Well, I have spoken to Tom, but he said that I had to speak to you.
Okay.
And he said that you would have some ideas about the best way to proceed.
What is the nature of the problem?
Well, this is about my work relationship with Ed ever since he came. I don't know if you know anything about it, but things have really deteriorated a lot between us, and it's got to the stage now where it's really causing me serious stress, and I'm not sleeping very well, and my work is suffering, and everybody's noticed now there's a bad atmosphere at
So
work.
you've come to the point where you feel you have to do something about it?
Yeah.
Have you considered the option of talking directly to Ed yourself?
I couldn't do that.
No,
I know I couldn't do that.
You think that would be too difficult?
Yeah, I know it wouldn't work.
Okay.
I wouldn't know what to say to him, and I'd feel he was kind of, I'd be too nervous.
Okay. Have you heard anything at all about mediation?
Mediation? I'm not really sure what that means.
Well, mediation, put quite simply, is you get a bit of support from a third party to have a difficult conversation. Where there is some conflict or there's a problem with the relationship or something, a mediator is an independent third party who can organise and structure a facilitated meeting between yourself and Ed to try and help you resolve some of the difficulties between you. Do you think you might like to consider that option?
Is that what you recommend?
I recommend that you choose an option that you're comfortable with. I suggest that you read this leaflet. You can ask me any questions afterwards, and if you think it's something that might work for you, then I could organise it.
Yeah. Could you tell me what would happen?
Well, you would have the opportunity to meet with the mediator in advance, and she or he would explain everything to you. It's completely voluntary. It only happens if you wish for it to happen, and it's completely confidential. You have this discussion. It doesn't come back to personnel. There's no reporting back to management. But we'd have to invite Ed to come along to the mediation, so it would be dependent upon him being.
Would I have to ask him that?
We would agree it between us. It may be that you would decide you would like to ask him, or otherwise HR or the mediator might contact Ed and ask him.
Well, that would be better, I think.
That would be your preference.
And how long would it take?
It normally takes a week or two to set it up, and then I think that you have a meeting with the mediator in advance, which would take about an hour, and then Ed would also have a meeting with the mediator in advance, and then you would have a meeting between you that might last an hour or 2 hours or however long.
And then does the mediator decide what we're going to do then after that?
The mediator doesn't make any decisions at all. She simply facilitates you having a conversation with Ed and you sorting things out with Ed. She would assist you and support you to identify the things that were causing the problem and address. Find a solution that's mutually acceptable to both of you, that meets your needs and resolves the issues.
Gosh, I wonder if there is one. Yeah. And how long before that could happen? Because things are really bad now.
If Ed were to agree to come along to mediation, we could arrange it within outside a fortnight.
Right. And who is the mediator?
The mediator is somebody we would select from a panel of mediators, really randomly. We have a list of people who are qualified.
Would it be somebody we don't know, or somebody?
It would be somebody who neither of you would know, and would be independent, completely impartial.
And they'd be trained to do that job?
And they're trained and certified as a mediator.
Right. And this is, you recommend that this is a good option, do you?
Well, we've set up the service because we believe that it works. We believe, in my experience, people who have been in this kind of situation or having difficulties with a colleague and have gone through the mediation have found that it has helped them, that it has helped resolve.
Oh really, you've seen that happen?
I have,
you?
yes. And look, conflict happens all the time. We are all living in a very stressful environment, and people can be a little bit stressed and difficulties arise between people. It's quite normal. It does happen.
And if it doesn't work?
If it doesn't work, well then you'd have to explore what other options are there for
right.
you know, maybe you would have to consider more formal procedures. But we believe that mediation can prevent us having to go down the route of formal.
But it wouldn't affect if I was going to go down formal.
No, it wouldn't affect your options in terms of formal procedures if it breaks down in any way.
And anything that's said between us then can't be used again?
It can't be used in any further process. It's completely confidential.
Simply put, mediation is having a difficult conversation with somebody that you don't feel you can have the conversation with on your own without the help of a trained professional. In that meeting, the mediator will explain her role, explain the process of mediation, listen to your story, and address any issues or concerns, including questions that you may have.
Hello Melanie, very pleased to meet you. My name is Julie McAuliffe. I'm a mediator and I've been asked by your organisation to come in and help you talk about the difficulties that you're having between you and your boss, Ed. And my job really is to help you, is to facilitate what could be potentially a difficult conversation for you to have with Ed and for Ed to have with you. So it's to give you an opportunity to say the things you want to say to him and to hear his perspective on what's been going on between you, and then hopefully for the two of you to work out a solution that works for both of you, that you can both live with, so that you can have a better working relationship. Because I've been told there are some communication problems really.
Is that all right?
So Melanie, can I just check with you that I'm hearing you, what you're saying correctly? What I hear you say is that when Paul was working in the office with you, that you had a great team, you all worked really well together, everybody knew their jobs, and that because you've been here for such a long time and you know everything so well, that in many ways you became the unofficial office manager to some extent.
That's true, yeah. I think it wasn't my title, but I seem to take responsibility for making sure everything was finished off and done and moved on to the next stage, and that everything was right in the place. And well, Paul just trusted me to do that, and that's the way it went, and everything worked fine.
And how, and for you then, getting everything done and getting it finished and everything in its right place and being trusted, they seem to be things that are satisfactory for you in your work.
Yeah, they are, yeah, because I feel well, you know, I feel that I'm doing a good job, and I feel good about myself then. But this other fellow, Ed, he never stops at me. He's at me morning, noon and night. He never stops at me. Where were you? Why weren't you here at 9 o'clock? What happened to that report last night? And this, that and the other thing. And every time, like, he'd ask me to write a letter. I write the letter, no problem. Before, Paul would have said, oh, that's grand, thanks very much. He'd have read the letter, signed it, and we'd have sent it on. Next thing, move on to the next thing.
He'd have trusted you.
Absolutely, but this fellow wouldn't trust you to I don't know, wouldn't trust you to empty the bins now. He'd have to rewrite the letter, and he'd have to rewrite it again. And he'd be fussing over this word or that word or the other word, or consequently the letter would take weeks to get written because we'd go backwards and forwards, and I'd get frustrated, and I don't know what he feels like, but it just, it drives me crazy, and he's hovering over me all the time. Like, I feel I never have any breathing space, you know, that I just can't get on with my job.
Kind of suffocated, really.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
suffocated.
That's right, yeah.
That's the sense I get from you, that you feel a bit suffocated.
That's quite right, yeah.
And that the difference between Ed and Paul for you is that Paul let you get on with your job, he let you get on with your work, and he trusted you, whereas Ed is looking over your shoulder and watching you, and the things that really need to get done then for you, they don't get done because they get delayed because you're having to change things so often. Is that right?
I suppose they get done in the end, but it just seems so slow, and it seems like, just seems so complicated and difficult. Things that were really simple before seem so difficult now.
Okay.
And I just feel he doesn't trust me, and why wouldn't he trust me? I mean, there was never any question about it, and I always did my job, and Paul never had any complaints about my work.
Ed doesn't seem to have the same approach to time as that for you, and that seems to be causing you some stress. Would that be true?
Terrible stress. I feel really tense.
It sounds like there's two things really that's causing you a lot of strain and stress in this. One is the way in which Ed and you interact, and that you feel you're being watched and monitored and not left to do your own job, and really not trusted from your point of view to do your own job. And two, the whole business about time. Both of those things are causing you a lot of strain just now and stress. So if you were going to talk to Ed in mediation, which I hope you will, what are the kind of things that you'd be saying to him that would really make a difference in your working relationship between you and him? Would you be willing to hear what he has to say, to listen to his point of view, if he listens to you?
Yeah, I wonder if he'll listen though.
Well, I'll try and make sure he does. I'll try and make sure you listen to him too.
What'll happen if he starts ranting and raving and
I'll
shouting
sort
at
that
me?
out.
Will you?
Yeah, I'll take responsibility for managing that. Yeah.
Oh, I'll give it a go then.
Okay.
Everyone involved in mediation adheres to the same set of ground rules. Voluntary. Confidential. It's a respectful process. And the parties to the conflict determine what will work for them. They self-determine the outcome.
Very pleased to meet you. My name is Julie McAuliffe. I'm a mediator.
Hello, Julie. Thank you very much.
This first meeting between me and you is for you to hear a little bit about mediation.
Yeah.
And to see if you think it would be beneficial from your point of view.
Okay.
Okay, because what I have heard so far is that there's some dispute or some differences of opinion between you and one of your staff, Melanie.
That's right.
Is that right?
It is. Unfortunately, over the past year or so, the atmosphere has been seriously soured, sad to say, and the whole team is slightly at loggerheads, and I myself am finding it extremely difficult, and it largely boils down to the activities and the attitude of one individual on my team, and that is the lady you met, Melanie.
That your strategies were mainly avoidance and not trying to ruffle the apple cart.
Yes,
yeah,
that's true.
So if she was to say to you that a couple of things, if you had a couple of changes of attitude, or if you made a couple of suggestions, would you be willing to hear them?
I suppose I would be willing to hear them, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you'd be willing to hear her point of view. I've asked her exactly the same question, and she said she'd be very willing to hear your point of view.
Well, that would be a change about, because I mean right now any point of view of mine is poison to her, so it's hard to see how she would change her attitude or even listen.
Well, she has committed to listening. She has committed to listening to your point of view.
That's good.
And I suppose I would need the same commitment from you, Ed, in order to say, yeah, we've got the go ahead now and we can go for mediation.
And who would do the listening or the mediating?
I'd be the mediator, and you get an opportunity to speak, Melanie
Right.
gets an opportunity to speak, and you'd each get an opportunity to listen to each other and hear each other's point of view, and then make suggestions as to the way forward that you could both live with a different kind of working relationship than you have now, one that would be better, that you would construct between you and her. So you wouldn't have to go into that avoidance on one hand and explosion on the other.
Yeah.
Do you know? Because that's not working for anyone.
It's not.
It's not working for you, it's not working for
No.
her, it's not working for anybody else.
Well, it would certainly make a change if she could sit and listen to a point of view from my side of things.
Yeah. And if you could sit and listen to a point of view from her point of view.
Okay.
Okay. So would you be willing to try mediation, Ed, do you think?
I suppose it's worth a try.
While the issues in every conflict may be different, the process will remain similar. The mediator will skillfully manage the joint meeting. At the opening of that meeting, she will welcome the parties back, remind them of the ground rules and the principles of mediation so that they fully understand the process they're involved in. Both parties will then be asked to explain their story to each other. They have already explained it to the mediator, but now is their chance to allow the other side to hear it coherently, and the other side will listen with understanding.
Thanks for coming in to see me yesterday. I got a really good insight of what was causing difficulty for each of you separately. But just before we start, I'd just like to go through what mediation is again. I'm, at the risk of boring you to tears. But we need to know together, it's voluntary, it's confidential. And confidential, you raised something about that, Melanie, and maybe you could say a little bit about that when I'm finished. My job is to be impartial, so I'm there for both of you. It's a collaborative process, and that's different than, say, a legal process where you're fighting against somebody. In a collaborative process, people work together. They give each other respect, they give each other a sense of equality, and they look for an outcome that's mutually satisfactory, and that's what we're hoping to do today.
I see myself as the leader of a team. Not a boss, not even a manager. I know I'm the department manager, and I think what I'm looking for and hoping for is something fairly reasonable, that all the people around me work and act as a team. And I just feel that with Melanie, she doesn't see herself as being part of a team. She has the wisdom and the experience and the skills wrought through many years, but I only wish that she could sort of channel those into the work force that we have to make the whole place happier and more cooperative. I do expect quality of input from all my staff, and I regret to say, but sometimes that's not what I'm getting from Melanie, because she feels she's done it for so long and is so proficient at doing the normal tasks that she can do them, well, too quickly, or should I say a little bit slapdash, and this is where we tend to come to loggerheads. I do appreciate that she has a problem at home, and perhaps there's room for manoeuvre and cooperation as regards timing, and I know that she does stay back late and things like that, but sometimes...
That's very positive to begin with, even, Ed. That's already very positive that you said that. And I suppose from what I hear you saying there is that you do appreciate Melanie's expertise and experience and the time that she's been there, but you would also like her to see you as a leader of the team. You would like to see a more cooperative attitude, and you would like her maybe to pay attention to some of the detail.
Yes, I would like to be her friend and her colleague, but I do think she owes me a certain amount of respect as her immediate manager.
Okay, so you'd like to have clarity about your roles?
Yes.
Okay. So I just like to thank both of you at the moment for, for sticking with this. And you've worked very hard. We've come a long way. I heard you say, Ed, and I'm sure Melanie was very pleased to hear that there will be flexibility around her time coming in the morning, particularly because now you heard the kind of strain she was under, and you didn't hear that before. You weren't aware of that before. And also what I've heard you say, Melanie, is that you understand how important it is for Ed that the presentation is very important, about how the material that leaves your department and goes out is extremely important to him. The presentation is something that matters, and that you will take that into account in future and you won't see it as a criticism. And they're really, as far as I could see, those two things in themselves may create a different working relationship between you. And also I think that you will be prepared to give each other a little bit more space as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think we might, do you need to have that written up, or are you happy to go with that just in a verbal way?
I think we could probably accept each other's words on that. I think we both know each other's thinking now, and you've summed it up so well. We probably don't need it written down.
And Melanie, what about you?
No, I'm happy.
Do you feel like that as well?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I usually ask people at the end of mediation, especially when we've come to an agreement, if they'd be prepared to shake hands with each other on this. So would you be prepared to shake hands on that?
I would be only too happy to shake hands with Melanie.
Well, thank you very much. And I would love to say well done.
Thank you,
Well
Julie.
done. Well done.
Thank you, Julie.
Okay.
Thank you very
Good
much.
work.
Thank you for taking an interest in mediation. Should conflict get out of hand in the workplace, mediation allows you an ethical process in order to address it. I hope watching this short film gave you some information that helped you make an informed decision, and I hope mediation is right for you.